Today's video is a slightly different video to the ones that I normally do regarding makeup tutorials, but it's a super important part of my life in recent years, and I know so many people that message me about this and that I talk to about. It's all about inner beauty and something that I've had to face up to, particularly when I was suffering several miscarriages, postnatal depression, and also grieving the loss of our second son. What all these traumatic experiences had kind of created in me and brought to my attention much more prominently was that actually I didn't really like myself. So although I was putting on makeup and pretending that I was happy, I was in control of things, I was full of life, deep down internally I felt empty, withdrawn, and full of anger. You see, I was measuring the success of my life based around what I had, but it was all materialistic. And whilst it's lovely to have the house of your dreams, the nice car that you want to drive, money in the bank, that doesn't really cut it when it comes down to looking at yourself internally and liking the person that you want to be. I've come to realize that we need mentors, coaches, life guides, or even gurus that can help us to navigate through our life. It could come in the form of a person. It could come in the form of a book or some wisdom or even a video. In my case, it came through the form of a video. Many of you have heard me talking about my life coach and my guru, Jay Shetty, who has totally changed and transformed my own life, but also the life of my children, my husband, and how I interact with people outside. It all started one day when a family friend of ours forwarded on a video on Facebook while I was having one of these moments where I was sitting at home on the sofa looking at these 4 empty walls and wondering what was I going to do with my life, and had it become what it had become, and was I ever going to get away from it. I just wasn't enjoying life, and whilst on paper I had everything going for me, I just felt empty. I'm sure some of you might connect and resonate with that kind of feeling. And suddenly this video appeared. It was Jay Shetty. He was talking about purpose, about things that happen in life and what we make them mean, and also about when things happen that aren't so good or bad things happening, what we also make that mean. It talked about gratitude, it talked about self-worth, it talked about self-love, and it talked about meditation in a big way, and how to bring your passion back into your life through a career or something that you enjoy doing. Now that was the very first time that I'd ever experienced anything like this, because I feel that I had such ignorance towards it that I hadn't let it sort of arrive into my life, or I hadn't let it sort of like receive me, or I'd blocked it off. I'm not quite sure what the reasons were. Maybe it was because I just wasn't ready until then. But I feel like my guru found me at the right time, and that video totally started to transform my life. I'm very blessed to be surrounded by some incredible people, one of which is my husband. And I do remember during that time, he said to me, you need to go and find a hobby to take your mind off of certain things that weren't making me feel happy at the time. And that was when I discovered makeup. Makeup came to me and I literally feel like it saved my life. Because if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't have allowed me to sort of dig in deep and look into what inner beauty all means as well, but particularly to me. So I guess the first step in this inner beauty journey for me has been recognizing that there was something that I wasn't really happy about myself. The next step in that was also to sort of embrace that feeling and that emotion, really experience it, and really try to understand what it was trying to tell me or how it was trying to make me feel, and sort of understand it a little bit more. It was hard, it was challenging, it made me angry, I was frustrated, I cried so much at the littlest of things would set me off. But I can totally say that having gone through all of that and arrived at where I am today, I absolutely know that if I hadn't figured out what all of that was trying to say to me and the little steps that I've taken to kind of get to that stage, I wouldn't be where I am today. Now, makeup played a massive part in that. Almost around kind of the first starting point in helping me to feel confident. And it was the simplest of things. It was like just putting on some makeup, buying a new lipstick, putting that on and just going out. Now, believe it or not, and most of you will think that I'm very confident when you see me on Instagram with all my pictures, my videos. I'm actually quite shy if I don't know you, and I find it quite difficult to sort of network in big gatherings. I'm a little bit more easier when it's sort of smaller gatherings and one-on-one. But I've evolved over that, and I've come through that over several years. Because what happened was when I had all this makeup on, and I would get people saying to me, "Oh, your lipstick looks really nice," I wouldn't really know how to receive it. I was really like blocking compliments. And when I did acknowledge them, I felt like my ego was getting in the way. So I didn't really know how to sort of control that or manage it or sort of deal with it. But makeup helped me to sort of increase some of my confidence. And as that went on, what I also realized is when I took my makeup off, I was still the same person. And so there was still a part of me inside that just wasn't healed and was still empty and was still unhappy. Over this time, life evolved. I started to talk about my miscarriage a little bit more. I started to talk about postnatal depression more on the radio and on videos. I started to write about it more. And I also then fell pregnant with my third son. And he's also healed me. So I feel my journey internally and also things that have happened to me in life naturally have all kind of helped me to sort of address and come to a situation where I am right now, where I'm loving who I am as a person. I feel very worthy of who I am, and I do feel like I love life again. There's some simple steps that I took to kind of helping me to get to that stage, and I want to talk to you about them all today. The first step that I took was to create a vision board. I never knew what a vision board was. I never experienced one. I hadn't had any friends that had told me about one, and I hadn't even researched anything. And I remember when I started to research things, I realized that, oh my goodness, there was a plethora of mindfulness coaches out there who were already practicing this at such high levels, and they were helping other people, and other individuals were going through it as well. So the first step was to create a vision board. And in my vision board, I created the things that I wanted to sort of improve in my life. And they weren't really things around money or materialistic things. They did come into it, but they weren't at the forefront of my mind. I wanted to love myself. I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to forgive myself. I wanted to be a better person for myself. I wanted to be, as a result, be a better wife, be a better mother, and be a better human being. So I do feel like there was a point where I was trying to sort of pass on this information and this knowledge and this wisdom that I'd all of a sudden started to sort of capture and be told about through my coach in various different areas that I was exploring, to my husband and to my children. The thing was that it didn't really work because they weren't me and they weren't at where I was in that thinking, and they had to own it for themselves. So that was a really groundbreaking moment for me. And I took a step back and I started to sort of fix myself first. I can't tell you, that decision was probably one of the best decisions that I've made, because what I've realized is that by fixing myself first, I can help to fix others. So my vision board played a critical role in that. My vision board is somewhere where I see it first thing in the morning, where I see it last thing at night. I've taken pictures of it on my mobile phone. I have pictures of it around the room. And I constantly update it because, life is evolving and things change, and my aspirations change too. And of course, there are some materialistic things. For example, I want to be able to put the best food on the table for my children to eat. I want to have a car that takes me from A to B. I want to have a house that allows us to function and to have a home for my family. The next area was me as a makeup artist. I was already working a full-time job Monday to Friday, and it was stressful. It was target driven, it was objective driven, bonuses, the stuff that we all do, the things that our parents say, get a really good job. You've got a good education because this is what we've worked for hard for. So you feel like that's what you're sort of like striving for, or at least I was striving for when I was growing up. And I'm really thankful for that job because it allowed me to do so many things. But when I became a makeup artist, I became a makeup artist part-time. So I would work as one Saturdays and Sundays, and then I'd take times off to go and do various different jobs, whether that was working backstage at Fashion Week or in a commercial shoot or with a celebrity, or if I was teaching someone how to do some makeup. But one big thing I did was I had not opportunities knocking on my door, and I never said no. I didn't know how I was going to do them. I just said yes, and I figured it out afterwards. I feel like all of those opportunities have really, really helped me to grow as a person, as an artist, and as someone that can help others in that as well. That's also led me to discovering who I really was. All of a sudden, I was having lots of fun. I was meeting new people. I was doing creative things that I had not done for so many years. And I had this new creative energy that was coming through and releasing. And I wanted more of that. So the person I was becoming was different. I was evolving as an individual and I was enjoying it. So I've always said yes to every single opportunity that's come my way. Now, over time, I've evolved a little bit. And now I understand some opportunities are there because they help you grow. You learn from them, you make mistakes in them. But don't ever think that was a bad thing that happened, because it wasn't. Actually, I've learned from it. I've grown from it. I've experienced it. So when those opportunities come along, I know they're not for me. And how do I know that? Because I know they don't align around my values, my vision, and my goal for my life and for my family. And that's how I measure whether I'm going to take something on board and go through with it, or whether I'm not going to be able to do it and that it's more suited to somebody else. Now, understanding those opportunities and knowing whether they're the right ones or not requires you to listen and listen inwards. I was the person that wanted to always be around big crowds. I come from a big family. We're all very loud. We like to have lots of banter together. And when I married my husband, I came into a really small family here in the UK. So I wasn't really used to sort of spending time just by ourselves. And particularly when my husband wasn't at home, I wasn't used to spending time on my own. I actually didn't like it. I'd run off to my mum's house or with my friends or go out mindlessly shopping without even thinking because I was bored. All of a sudden, I started to find in this journey that I was spending more time alone. And because I was spending more time alone, I was spending more time with my inner thoughts. Those thoughts that I started to write down are almost like my inner voice or my intuition. Things that I know I need to be doing and that my intuition is telling me to do, but sometimes I choose to ignore it because I don't trust myself. And so being able to trust myself in my own judgment, in my own decisions, was a major transformation for me. And sometimes when I trusted myself and I went on to doing what my voice was telling me, I was scared, I was petrified. But sometimes I know that coming out of it from the other end, I was very grateful to trust my own instinct. These thoughts as well, I started to write down in a gratitude journal. I remember my coach telling me about them. And my guru said to me, a gratitude journal is something that you should write down. It really makes you to appreciate what you've got around you rather than chasing the things that you don't. A good friend of mine, Nisha, who I met through a community and also through one of my best friends in the DC, Washington area, she gave me a gratitude journal when I first went to visit her. And that journal has stayed with me ever since, and I keep ordering it online all the time because it allows me to sort of write down the 3 things that I'm most grateful for that happened that day, and any other thoughts that I want to put down onto paper. I just find it helps me to refocus on everything that I have right now rather than chasing things that I don't have and I desperately want. One of the other things that I did was I wrote a gratitude letter. Many of you have been following my Facebook journey and you know about a private group where we set it up as a memorial for our son who passed. And I used that memorial site as a way of communicating to him directly. So a lot of times my emotions were coming out onto paper. Not so much paper, but Facebook and as a post. And every time I hit the post button, I almost felt like as if that post was going to reach him. I forgot about the 100 private people that we'd allowed into that group to sort of see that information. But that was the first step in my healing and kind of accepting the grief, and then getting through the trauma of the grief to it becoming part of a new normal way of living, because that's what it ultimately has become. There's not a single day that goes by when I don't think about him. But it is the way it is what's happened, and it's the new normal way that our life has become, and we have to live with it. And I still choose to be happy after that because of the purpose that he's given me and driven me towards in seeking my own inner voice. And I remember when I wrote that letter, I cried so much. I remember that letter came about as a result of the coaching that I was doing with Jay Shetty, and he talked about a gratitude letter in one of his modules. And I remember that night writing it all down, and as I was writing it, tears just flooding. But I do remember the moment that had happened, and afterwards, and the next day when I woke up, I felt a huge amount of burden just gone away from me. It was almost like I had so much that I was holding on to that I wasn't forgiving for myself. And it wasn't anything that other people had told me, or they had said that that was a factor or a reason for why he was gone. It was what I was making it mean. And so by doing this letter, it really started to sort of heal the way for me in kind of helping to sort of heal myself. So I'd say all of that is part of the kind of phase 2 that I was going through, which was really the bulk of the transformation that was happening. And then phase 3 was all about, and by the way, I didn't realize that these were phases that were happening. But when I look back at myself, I realized these are phases, my journey and how my journey has evolved. But phase 3, I would say, is I'd gone through kind of addressing all these issues and addressing all these feelings and these emotions. And when there's nothing else there, you can build from that. And so all of a sudden, I was starting to find that I was having more fun in life. I was having fun in myself, in being a human being, with other people, with my partner, with my children, in the career I was in. I was loving everything. And so I decided at that point that this is what I wanted my life to become. I wanted it to have some form of meaning. Like there had to be a meaning to why I'd gone through all of this, and at the time that why I'd gone through it. That fun again took me towards experiencing new things, having new opportunities, traveling for the first time by myself for work. And I remember when I started to travel by myself, I realized that I was so fearful of it. You know, my whole life I'd grown up and I'd always traveled with my parents and my brother when we went away on holiday. I think there was only one holiday that I went on, which was kind of something I did after university. And even that was kind of all planned, and it was done through kind of like a community group. And I went and experienced it for myself. But I do remember that feeling of feeling really challenged and proud of the fact that I'd done it by myself. So when it came to kind of traveling by myself again for work, all of a sudden I was a little bit fearful about it, because I was like, well, my mum's not there, my dad's not there, my brother's not there. And in recent years, whenever I travelled, it was with my husband, and he wasn't there either. So I had to really sort of trust myself, trust my instincts, take on the decisions, and just go and do it. I can't tell you how much travelling by myself has made a massive difference to my own independence, to my own thinking, and my own belief that I can actually do things by myself, and that I don't need to rely on other people. I don't need to kind of wait for other people to do things for me, and it keeps me a little bit more self-sufficient, which I love. Of course, there are tons of people out there that if I picked up the phone and I asked them if they would help me, they could, and they would. But the point is, I now felt I could do it too. And across all this journey, I think the biggest thing is I love the elements of surprise, of appreciation, of gratitude, of having fun, of loving life again. And that's done two things for me. And I would say the two biggest things have been for me to sort of connect again with my spirituality, and rather than resist it, just open it up and just allow whatever to come in should come in, and embrace it and enjoy it and love it. And I do love it. And then going back to the makeup, previously I'd put on makeup, I'd put that amazing lipstick on and I'd feel so confident. I'd look in the mirror and I'd feel like I could do anything and anything was possible. The truth was, when I took that lipstick off, I still felt like I was empty, I had low energy, low vibes, and I didn't like who I was seeing. By going through all of this transformation and all of these things that I'm doing daily on a regular basis now, what happens now is that when I put that lipstick on and I wipe it off away, I still feel like that confident, energetic, vibrant person that is seeking a love for life, that wants to enjoy life, that wants to build something, that wants to serve other people particularly that have been through so many things that I've been through and who have lost their way and are just seeking help. If any of this has resonated with you, do leave a comment down below. I'd love to know. These things are important to talk about because it's only by sharing experiences like this that we can help and support one another. And that's what I've learned to know, is serving other people and serving humankind. So I'm doing it in a way that I think is authentic and resonates with me. I hope this video is connected to you. I'd love to know more about what you thought. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter for any behind the scenes stuff that I do around this and the things that I share. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to my family, to my husband, who's been my dearest and dearest soldier and warrior in this journey, and I couldn't have done it without him at all. To my beautiful little Avi, who has seen so much with his little eyes, but who's shown to become a resilient little boy and someone who's still very fun-loving and happy. And also, finally, to the person that helped me to manage to do this all in the first place, Jay Shetty, my life coach and my guru. I thank you so much from the deepest of my heart. I'm filming this video today on Guru Purnima, which is a day dedicated to your guru. And although I'm not releasing it today, you will see this in the coming weeks. It's been an important video for me to do, but I haven't wanted to rush this. I've wanted to do it at the right time, in the right moment, because guys, I'm trusting myself now. I'm trusting myself to know when those moments are for me to do it. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.